Everybody, got a little windshield time today. I headed out to Wartburg to go look at a house for a potential seller, and I want to get into a video that doesn't really have a storyline other than just some wild, some crazy, and of course, as always, shady stuff that I run into, our team runs into, that I want to share with you guys. I always like to try to be completely transparent. Sometimes things happen in real estate that are like winning the lottery odds of it happening, but it's real estate and it does happen. So I want to share with you, I got some notes here because these things have happened kind of over the last couple months, some more recently than others. And I was just trying to figure out this is a good time of sharing it or like trying to piece it together with some other things. And so I figured out that, you know what, let me just kind of piece all these random things together that are some kind of one-off type scenarios, but that I had kind of like some of them never seen before, never thought would ever happen in my career. So in no particular order, I got an email like, it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago from a random person, a very well put together email with like 10 other people copied, including people at our brokerages, and including apparently like a local like district attorney general here, and it was basically over a real estate deal where an agent on my team, we helped the buyer buy it, and this person was claiming to be a seller like 2 sellers ago in this deal, and was saying that this property was taken from them via fraud, and that they're basically looking at investigations. And so obviously I'm like, holy crap, this is insane. This is also why you do title insurance. Get title insurance. You've heard me rant on that, but so I'm not gonna beat that horse. But immediately, so I called the title company. I'm like, hey, what is this? It's like, yeah, we got a similar email as well. We're looking into it, and to kind of like not take forever on this one topic. Title company's like, Steven, we've looked into everything. We looked into obviously everything before we did it. It's all legit. It's closed multiple times with a warranty deed. There's no quit claim deed. There's no weird stuff. It's always had the correct people involved. So if it's fraud, if it truly is fraud, then that means that some title companies and basically licensed people were in on this fraud to make this happen. There's no way that like somebody stole a property from somebody and it went all the way through, and that's legitimate. So I saw some emails going back and forth because they're basically trying to take action against the seller that sold it to us, which was a flipper who got it from like the person who then got it from these people, again, like 2 sellers ago. And it went back and forth to the point, like, again, our broker's involved, the district attorney general at some level here in Knox County involved. But basically, as far as I know, of course, I immediately call the agent on our team, kind of give him a heads up. We call the buyer, and come to find out, again, this is, I don't think it's officially closed, but I haven't heard anything in a long time. But in talking with the other agent, and multiple parties involved, it does seem that this person, maybe has a history of this, and by maybe definitely has a history of doing this, trying to looking for settlements versus saying, I'm going to sue you, and versus attorney fees and try to go into court. Even if you're going to lose, they just hope people settle it out and everything. So it looks like it really was more so them committing fraud by saying that the house had been stolen from them, committing fraud. So like they were committing fraud to say that there was fraud. At least what it appears based on what I know now. But just a wild scenario where get title insurance, right? Don't ever buy a house or land or anything like that without kind of getting that title insurance. Next one is my land offer, right? So I actually made an offer. This would have been, I think, I don't know, middle of last week. Property hit the market. Nice property, some land that we could done some investment with. And we felt would have done pretty well with. We put an offer in basically like day one, cash, a 7-day base of feasibility just to kind of check on things, utilities and everything like that. And really was a very acceptable offer. If not acceptable, would have easily been a counterback and getting accepted. No reason why this shouldn't have been a deal. And now I didn't draw my own offer up. I had an agent on my team draw it up. And the reason is because the listing agent is someone that's been in the industry for like, I don't know, probably as long as I've been alive, a very, very long time. And is definitely in the top 10 as probably known as the shadiest people in the game. I have had multiple bad run-ins with them, and to the point where some stuff has gotten escalated a couple times because I know my offer wasn't presented properly. I know things were communicated to her client, meaning she's not representing her client ethically, honestly, and getting the information over to them. So I've had multiple bad encounters, and I'm not going to back down from a shady agent. But definitely in the top 10, maybe the top 5 is people that are just, man, it just gives real estate a bad rap. So presented our offer, of course, didn't hear nothing back. Our offer expires. So we decided to resubmit. And at that point, I told the agent, I said, listen, I like the broker that this agent works for. I've done a lot of deals with them, and I think they're really, really nice. Let's make sure we send it to them, because ultimately the broker is really responsible for that. And so then we got this back. So, oh yeah, it's been received, and supposedly it was presented, and it was a hand-signed signature on it. Well, the only other signatures on all the other paperwork is e-signed. So in the back of my head, right, and I don't know this is why real estate can be really shady. Back of my head, I'm thinking, all right, why everything else was e-signed, this was hand-signed. I'm wondering if she ever presented it and just signed it on behalf and just declined it. I don't know. I'll probably never know. Now, could I go and file a complaint and all this stuff? Sure, I can. But this person, they actually do a lot of business. They do keep burning bridges, because I keep getting a lot of business of people that have worked with them. Which is great for me, but they do a tremendous amount of business, and for my clients, I've already kind of, I don't want to say fully burned the bridge, but the bridge is burning between our relationship. So every now and then we still got to cross paths, and I try to be as nice and civil and as straightforward as I can, but it's just like every time it's just something extremely shady on that side. And it happened to me, right? So it sucks because it's myself this time. It shows you there's nothing I could even do for myself, even to the point where I didn't want to submit the offer, because I thought I'd have a better chance, really kind of coming from an agent on my team, especially. And I told the agent on my team, who had never worked with this person, I said, they're shady. They're not going to present her offer. Let's just see how it happens. I mean, I called it. Basically, I was 3 steps ahead, calling everything that was going to happen. And it literally happened exactly how I knew it was going to happen. And she's like, wow. She's like, that's and it's, I used to do videos all the time like this, way back in the day, when I first went full time, talking about all the shady things. It's to the point where I'm just like, shady things at this point, like, I just shrug them off, because I'm just so used to them. So that's why I don't do a whole lot of videos anymore on the shady stuff. Because too, I just don't like negativity, right? It's negative, and I'm a very positive person, but still pisses me off. It is what it is. I'm glad it was me versus a client. I would be more pissed off if it was for my client than it was for myself. So another one, I'd never ran into this issue before. Now, I've done a lot of videos talking about appraisers and lenders, and use local lenders, don't use online lenders. Appraisers, why the difference of appraisers that work for local lenders versus appraisers that work for online lenders, the difference in them killing your deal, because they can kill your deal. Had a deal a couple months back, and I could do a 30-minute video on the craziness. It's in my top 5 of just wild things in real estate. There was like a parcel that was a part of the property that was not ever, didn't exist on paper, but it was there, and it was just very weird. But anyways, part of the back deck of this home was on the seller's other property. Well, we were under contract to close. We were going to give an easement. Basically, the title company was like drawing it up at closing. It was no big deal. Everybody's on the same page. An easement saying that, hey, or encroachment, I guess, saying, hey, no big deal. There's like 1 foot of this back deck that's on this property, because it was all family owned. And, no big deal. Well, appraiser goes out there, and of course it was an online lender, which again, I'm already, and as soon as I heard the appraiser's name, not had any major run-ins, nothing like this, but definitely like I was like, oh shit, that's not an appraiser that I like to hear, because this is an old guy, it's like 80 years old, who just thinks he is King Dick. And he is a straight asshole. He's extremely unprofessional. If you look at his Google reviews, it's like 1-star Google reviews as an appraiser. How in the world do you do that? I don't know. And you go on there, and literally our same experience was exactly the reviews that people are giving his company, because it's a one-man show. And his wife like runs the like communication part. He doesn't answer his phone, old guy, and he cussed me. Calling me because he basically said, no, you got to quit claim deed this land over. Well, you can't quit claim deed just a piece of property. It's got a loan on it. It's not that easy. And we was like, no, it's here's everybody's good. And he wouldn't sign off on it. Cussed me. My seller called him. He cussed my seller. He cussed, or he just said that I was like the worst agent, and I should have knew better. And it was his fault, my seller's fault for picking me. This should have never happened, blah, blah, that I should have been able to quit claim deed this property for him. I was like, no, this was just outrageous. And my seller to the point wanted to file a complaint on him, and really should have. I should have filed a complaint. This guy should not be in business at all. And so I said all this. This was like a couple months ago. Well, like 2 weeks ago in our team meeting, one of my agents, he was like, hey, is there ever a way to like switch an appraiser? And I was like, not really, I don't know, maybe, but how it's done is basically to limit fraud, and so you can't just say I want John to be my appraiser. It's like you got to put it up on a platform, and then they go and they kind of bid on it and select it, and it's certain appraisers here. It's like different buckets of appraisers, so that was not collusion. And I was like, well, why? He's like, well, this appraiser, our agent's on the buyer side. He's like, well, the appraiser called the listing agent and was telling him, hey, if there's anything wrong with this house, I'll find it. I'm going to flag it all, and don't waste my time. And he was like cussing the agent. And I started laughing, and I said, who's the appraiser? He said, I don't know. I don't know who it is. And I said the guy's name. I said, well, if it's this guy, I was like, you guys are shit out of luck, because this guy is just a terrible human being. Let alone a terrible appraiser. Should not have a license. Should not be able to practice business. And so he called me like 2 hours later, talked to him, and sure enough, it was the same guy. This guy's just like a terrorist out here. Just killing deals for people and wanting everybody to know he's the smartest in the room. And this guy, it really just is not good for anybody's business there. So, and I say that because local lenders will not use this guy because he's burned those bridges. And that's where you use a seller and a buyer. Local lenders give you a lot more power to work, especially seasoned agents know this, because there's a chance if you have a non-local lender, they're going to order this guy, and that could kill our entire deal. There's nothing we can do about it. They literally have the final say, to the point where if the lender was not going to close on that deal that I was telling you on mine, got killed. He killed the entire deal. It fell completely apart. We literally didn't do anything. We had a new deal, new buyer, new lender come in, whoop, closed just fine, no issue. Again, just a freaking crook is all that guy is. But, so, last one, and this was like the most recent thing. I am a numbers person. I love numbers, I love data. I'm dyslexic with words, so I can't read for shit. And like I'm reading, but I'm reading like 3 words ahead, and I'm like, my brain's like ADHD, and it's thinking what should be said versus what's actually being said. So like I can't read. I hate reading. It's not nothing. But numbers, like I get it. It's very natural to me. Math was always my favorite subject. But in real estate, it's a numbers game. And for me as an agent, and seeing all this, I don't feel you have to be any type of mathematician. You don't have to be good at math to understand and be able to give people numbers in real estate as far as estimated numbers on give or take, within $1,000, $2,000. That's very easy to do in real estate, in my opinion, without being any type of math person. 30 seconds on a calculator, boop, 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 you should be able to get anybody's the numbers. So we got an offer on one of my listings. And it was a great offer. It's cash, no contingencies. Woo! It's great. But it was less than asking. And we went back. I'm not going to go over the numbers or tell you which property this is, but we went back and we countered. we came down in our counter, but came obviously up from what their price is. And in the contract, the buyer's agent was asking for 3% buyer's commission. Now, a little high, but I'll be honest, our market, since those rules changed in August, 3%, people are asking for it. People are getting it. So he's asking for 3%. In our counter, we offered to pay 2.5%. I'm happy to give these numbers because it's the scenario. Otherwise, I can't like publicly talk about it, but I can talk about the scenario, which is just, again, another rabbit hole I could go down and vent on. So, and we, again, so we lowered the buyer's agent, which gives my seller more money, and we upped the price from their offers to give my seller even more money. Well, the agent comes back and says, hey, will they basically take our original offer if we go to full asking price? And I sit there and I was like thinking on it for like 2 minutes, and I was like, what's their angle? Because their counter offer to our counter offer was better for my sellers than our counter offer. My sellers were literally, so it was making no sense. And still, as I say it, it's like hard to get the words out, because we countered them and then they countered our counter back, paying nearly $3,000 more than our counter. And so I was sitting there and I was like, okay, well, I'm gotta be missing something. Reread it. Talk to Kara. I was like, does this make sense? Like, I've never seen this before. Somebody literally countered our counter and gave us a better offer than what our counter. If they would have accepted our offer, it was a better offer for them on their side. But anyways, I was like, yeah, I think they will. So I joking like messaged my sellers, and of course they called me. And I was like, we've probably done now about 800 contracts. I mean, we're rolling. We'll close out probably 250 contracts in 2025. We do a tremendous amount of business, and I see all these deals. I see all the back end. I see all the problems. I problem solve. I see all of them with all of our agents. We're now at 18 people on our team, and so I see all this, and I'm like, I've never in my life, nor would I've ever have thought that I would send a counter out and the other agent would counter my counter with a better offer for my people by thousands of dollars. So you just never know. And I called, and like we had like a chuckle, we had like a laugh, but like, I mean, I'm glad, maybe that's just good karma, I don't know. But I have a feeling is somebody didn't really understand a little bit of math, or somebody did their math wrong. How you messed that up, I don't know. You know, when there's multiple moving pieces and people are doing 10 things at once, I can see, you know, how that, but we're under contract for about $3,000 more than what our counter was to them, because they countered wanting to give us more money. So we'll leave it at that. I don't know if I'll ever see that one again in my career. I hope. Maybe that's just good karma for me coming around and you know, getting screwed out of the one deal out of my own deal. And having some of my people, you know, they got help. So, yeah, wanted to share those stories with you. Again, I don't share, especially when it's like the super negative stuff. I don't share it anymore just because it's just so negative. And, you know, real estate agents already have a bad rap, and I'm not going to disagree with you. There's not a lot of shady agents. There is. There's a lot of great agents as well. There's really a lot of great people who really care for their clients, and the same as what we do now. I still think we provide better service, but I think their intention of why they're doing it is the right reason. So that's kind of why I quit sharing so much of the negative stuff. But there's still. That one just really irks me. I was just predicting it the whole way through. So, as always, if you have questions, holler anytime.